when episode 5 comes out. I think the cool thing is going to be the push to level 2500 combat. Oh my god. Yo, what's up guys? We got another video today. We had a crazy stream last night. The bomb got dropped that Fen Samuel more or less communicated that this update was going to be hitting live servers within one day. This came at like maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, which means that like it was basically about 15 hours ahead of the actual patch being pushed out. There was a bunch of people who did really crazy stuff, invested money into things like different potions. The main change that we saw in beta, as had been seen about a week back, was that a lot of the reagents that came from the mines of Mantubin got significantly increased in their vendor prices. And what this caused is actually the potions that are made for the mine that use those ingredients went up in value. Now, there were people who tried to invest a bunch of money. I haven't heard like the craziest of the stories yet. I mean, I bought some of these potions. I didn't want to go all in on any sort of strategy because I was kind of aware that like they're not really trying to make an infinite money glitch. But yeah, we did buy a few thousand potions for ourselves, and I'm planning on using all of those anyway. So yeah, you'll be able to like pick up a potion at like 2 silver, and now we have like a potion that you have to pay 9 silver for. So it's kind of a cool, like, you know, 4 for 1 type of deal. By and large, not important to really anything in the game because we're going to be doing a lot of grinding that's going to be involving skills all over, not just in the mines. For the next bit of the video, we're going to review what we are going to be grinding next. Now, you guys know we have 18 levels of alchemy. This is going to be done on Sunday. We're going to have hopefully a pretty good stream as we push the final levels out with the boys. Yeah, alchemy has changed quite a bit. The vendor prices moved. We already kind of saw these numbers. I think people had talked about most of it. I tried to discuss it on stream, but the 10% mine potion used to sell. We could basically vendor them back for 18.5, and now that number is dropped to 14.9. So that's a pretty significant decrease, about 3.6 or around 18%, you know, lower than it previously sold for. On top of that, we're paying about, you know, 36, 37 silver for the ingredients for that potion, and before we could do it for like 31. So we're seeing like a 15% increase in materials and a 15% decrease in the money back. So what this means is a lot of these high tier alchemy potions are going to be much more expensive to train, and that's just going to make it harder for everyone to train alchemy. So I'm kind of in a good situation because yeah, we were aware that this change was coming. We only have 18 levels left, so like I made sure to stock up. I literally sold all of my potions, about 3,000 yesterday, and I bought like another 1,400 of each. You know, we tried to set ourselves up as best as we can. But by and large, like I don't really have like a full scope on like if these things are going to change again in the future. I've thought about making videos about like all the different price changes that are on beta, but for the most part, a lot of gathered materials like iron limpets, anything that was really far away from a node, those things have gone up the most. I think many people have already talked about this, so I didn't really want to get too in the weeds on it. But after we finish our alchemy grind, we are going to be pushing a lot of different things that may not be super apparent. So after the merge has officially taken place, we have dropped from about rank 5 to rank 9. Clayton got the biggest jump. We kind of knew this was going to happen, but Shore Central as well, Leah, Empo, a lot of big pushers here. We do have a nice gap below us here. I think, yeah, even enabling Anons, you can see that we have kind of rank 9 kind of in the bag here. If we want to kind of race and push by some of these people, maybe that's in our wheelhouse. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, we have Hopeport to grind for, but if you guys look at my levels, we're not really missing anything besides fishing and chef. And our fishing is going to be increasing from just doing our venture every day. And looking at this game with like the long-term lens that I think most people should really adhere to, especially since like all these top pages are done. Like if you want to get like rank 45 fishing, that's cool. But I'm more in the mindset that I like want to try and progress my whole account. And I really feel that doing the fishing venture all the way up is going to be like a good play, right? So there's going to be an increased venture later that we're going to be able to upgrade to with, I think, some lobsters in like the low 300s. And then one final oyster that's a little bit later. I want to say like upper 300s. So we'll try and ride that out all the way. I like to use Chef as like a real AFK skill, but truthfully, like when we're going to be grinding after this, I think we're going to pivot back into combat. Now, if you guys rewind the clock all the way back to the end of November, we knew we were going to finish the guard grind in about, you know, 3.5 weeks or so. And then we didn't really know what to do next. The episodes had just kind of got launched. The leaderboard came out like the literal week that we hit 500 guard. And the leaderboards are what actually drove us into profession-based episodic gameplay, right? I never really wanted to grind, you know, foraging and alchemy. I would even reference my buddy Jordan TV, who said something along the lines of like, yeah, I would be really surprised if you even got them to 200. It's like not your type of thing. And here we are months later, which yeah, it took a while, but we are finishing out these 2 professions. And we're technically over the halfway point, right? We've done most of the work for Hopeport. We have currently 565 total levels to get our 2000 done for the episode. At the end of the day, I'm more interested in the combat of the game and like where like, you know, the things that we've been talking about, like dungeons and raids and all of that, are going to take the game forward. And to be frank, I think the work that we put into Guard is best used in the combat profession. We actually have this full set of epic gear. We didn't finish a complete set, but we literally got technically 6 different pieces. We also have a 1H hammer fist, but yeah, this is going to basically set us up for like the next, you know, 50, 70 levels of combat. And beyond that, of course, we're just kind of going to be, you know, KPing into other things and hopefully making a lot of progress. So if you guys want the detailed view, most likely the way that we're going to be grinding after we finish Alchemy, I'm kind of up in the air of like how I want to finish Alchemy. We might just hold on to our potions. I think we have a pretty good lock on rank 19, and at the best, or at the worst case scenario, we're looking at rank 20, right? So we're going to get our top 20 Alchemy one way or another. But once Alch is done, I think what we'll do is we will KP into Chef and get our Chef up to 217. That way we can start doing those veggie stews that have a decent money and push all the way up to kind of the Bacon Mountain range. You do like basically like a veggie stew and do like an omelet thing. And then you get to Bacon Mountain. There's like a 10 level gap right before Bacon Mountain where we're going to do some... We actually have about 4,000 potatoes that we banked. So those are green grails. I think we pulled those up while we were doing the foraging grind. I'm like, yeah, someday we might like this. And that day is probably going to come in about a month and a half, 2 months. I'm not really expecting to push for that super hard. But what's cool about this is that then we start that Bacon Mountain grind. And what I'd like to do is just keep grinding combat and just KP all the way through like the bad levels. Maybe we do like, you know, 5 levels of bacon sandwiches, or maybe we don't do any. You know, I really don't have too much preference toward it. What's important is that we're going to be pushing towards this level 2000 combat. And what I would like to kind of gear my account toward is getting ready for episodic combat races. So when episode 5 comes out, I think the cool thing is going to be the push to level 2500 combat. When episode 6 comes out, we want to be there to push for 3000 combat. So in order to do that, we need 500 basically farm from all of these episodes, which of course already is sounding archaic. We really just need 2000 combat, and we're currently at 967. So we have 1033 levels to go. And those levels aren't going to come quick, but it's a lot of really good money farming. Before, my alternative, right, if I was finishing 500 guard, I was going from 4 gold an hour back to like making literally like 120 silver with like a level 30 profession, right? So we're actually kind of up massively because now we can go back into combat, but we're already back to like making like 1.6, 1.7 gold an hour. And that curve is just going to keep increasing. And since we don't really need money anymore, you know, we're finishing Alchemy. This is like a really like money heavy skill. You know, Chef is mostly going to be net positive for us. And of course, if we want to do any active fishing, we could. But my mindset is mostly like, let's try and keep rank 9 Hopeport, but let's kind of passively push forward. I think these last levels are going to be harder for people. I know there's a lot of big grinders above us. There's also some big names here like ITI Lambro, Titan, Havric is in the mix, Timmy's Coffee. These people can really push. So I'm not by any means saying that we're, you know, going to have this easy time floating on rank 9 because, you know, there's still a player base, about 100, 200 people these days that are really interested in the leaderboard still. So we want to try and keep a lock on that. But again, I think we're perfectly positioned here to make this video. We're rank 100 in combat today. Looking at what we have ahead of us, there's a lot of combat grinding to do. There's Sassy. Like, it's actually pretty amazing. You can see Sanhai here. Like, a lot of awesome people in this list. And, you know, Keenan, I know, another guard grinder. Like, there's just so many people that we want to see at the top of the combat leaderboard. To give a quick review, guys, Psychotic, as of making this video, has not hit 2000 yet, and Mysticalia is going to be hitting it second, but these guys are going to get uprooted as soon as the new combat episode comes out from episode 5, because then the cap's going to increase again. So the question is, how many people are going to actually have 2000 to be in that competition? Maybe Pepperoni will make it, maybe Binovan will make it, but, you know, if this update hits in 2 months, maybe not even Grim Reaper will make it. You know, it's hard to really say right now. Talking about, you know, 700, 800 levels, we have over 1,000 to go. So if we grinded at our old guard pace, we're still looking at about 3 months of grinding. Now, I'd love to say, I used to tell people, oh, I thought episode 5 was coming in this summer. I thought, you know, trading was coming earlier. I've been really off on timelines. I'm not gonna pretend that, like, you know, we had this like perfect vision, because like back in December we thought trading was going to be out before Christmas, and that didn't happen. We still don't have trading, and it's March. Today's the 4-month day, right? So it is kind of cool that, yeah, 4 months into the game they decided to roll this update out. I'm actually kind of happy overall with them doing it in such a manner, because they didn't give us a bunch of heads up, which means nobody like invested a ton of money into some crazy lucrative strategy. There's a few things that might have like gained them 10 to 15%, which I think are very normal, because most people's banks also went up 10 to 15%. Most people who played the game are gonna generally gain some wealth from this update. But at the end of the day, I think what this update does is it sets the stage for a lot of good updates. We'll kind of maintain the opinion that this update doesn't necessarily fix a bunch of issues. It does fix some issues though for a lot of people who are like just sampling out the game. They were trying each episode. They're getting to level 20, and they did have to experience that negative drop off. So I like seeing changes, and I'm very happy with what they're doing. And I always go back to the idea that I want to see Andrew Gower and that team fulfill their mission as much as possible and really build the game that they're trying to build, and not so much like adhere to, you know, what like 500-600 people are like really telling them to do. Because I think if we see more updates like this and they're kind of holding off on marketing, we know that like they're going to build a good game that they believe is good, and it's just a matter of time. It's going to be a little bit rocky if you're trying to be competitive, but again, I hope you guys just stick it out with me. If you guys want to drop the video now, you can, but I will also add a little bit about what we're doing in other games. I have been working on old school RuneScape. We started a group hardcore, and we try to get this group of people, and like a couple of them aren't really taking it super seriously. We had like a time where like they took off a shield during Dragon Slayer and got one shot.
It was at this moment that he knew he f***ed up.
And it was really kind of this amazing moment, but I was also like super kind of tilted from it. And we decided to actually reactivate our membership on our one defense hardcore. We made the controversial decision to rip the pure defense out of it and decided to basically do Dragon Slayer, and we pumped to like 40 defense by completing the training for Monkey Madness, which got us all the way to 40 defense. As of today, we just finished Heroes. We got our Dragon Defender back, so it kind of took like our old group hardcore, and we're kind of building on top of that. But just so like everyone's aware, I'm going to be playing old school in parallel with what we're doing in Brighter Shores. I have like this hardcore character that I'm really experiencing all of old school at the same time as we're, you know, going through Brighter Shores. We have a little bit more of like the diverse content, the really rich progression. And I frankly have never even done a raid before. I've not done God Wars literally in like 20 years. And I think it's just going to be like absolutely fantastic to like experience some of this old content and then kind of push beyond that to the stuff I've never seen before. And then we have this massive cherry on top that in about 6 months or so, we get to experience sailing and a bunch of this new content. There's new bosses that are coming in all the time. We know Blonde Bear just got his Bofa on his Iron Man. He's been actually having a blast. And I really just want to try and reinvigorate some of the positive feelings I've had about games like this, and really pushing forward, you know, just getting those achievements done and trying new things. And I'm doing it on a hardcore, so it adds a little bit more spice to it. You guys better believe that we're going to be doing some PVM. Technically, we just got our easy combat achievements done because we had to regrind Scurious, because I had this done previously on the one defense. I guess all the new content that's actually like given us more points. So anyway, we had to regrind that. But yeah, we're going to be trying to push a bunch of things at once. And I think our main two focuses right now are going to be the old school hardcore, and then we're going to be pushing for 2000 combat. So Hopeport is not necessarily on the back burner, but it is probably like a little bit lower priority for me, unless if we really feel some competition, because I'm pretty much fine getting front page. I think like in the grand scheme of things, the competition that we were going for kind of got wrecked, right? And I don't really owe it to myself to like adhere to this competition. It's like if you're running a marathon and you made it 20 miles in, but then like they took like 5 of your miles and they said, those actually you need to rerun, and your marathon for you is going to be 31 miles. Like I didn't really commit to the same race as everyone else, you know, in that sense. So I don't really like hold it against myself that like, oh, we fell from 5 to 9, because like they could have taken out, you know, fishing, for example, and then we'd be up huge and we would have, you know, maybe jumped a rank or two. So anyway, at the end of the day, these things are small and trivial. And I think if we want to have fun in the game, we need to kind of find our own path and craft it forward. And speaking of crafting, don't be surprised if I start KPing into Stonemason soon. That is going to be one play that we've been talking about for a very long time. And I'd like to think that if we're, you know, in a range where we're doing veggie stews, we want to make Stonemason our play, because we need 500 crafting, because we know we're going to need it in the future. I think getting 500 Stonemason ahead of episode 5 would be incredible, but given the timing, unless if we see something later than July, I don't really see us getting 500. However, even getting to the point where we can get some of the crafting done means that maybe by the time episode 6 is out, we're ready for like the next step of crafting, which might get us prepped for the future. So yeah, if you guys made it through the video, feel free to drop a sub or a like on the video. We're at like 970 subs right now. Like we're literally like 30 away. So I appreciate all the support, you guys. And as always, have a great day. Take it easy. Catch you in the next one.